Welcome to Squires Library online tutorials. Today we are going to talk about how to use EBSCO's Discovery Service, which is our large search engine and library catalog. We're going to start at the Lee University homepage, and if you'll scroll down from the top of the Lee page down here to the bottom, you'll see this maroon box, and in the center is the link for library resources. This will take you to the library's homepage. Our URL is leeuniversity.edu/library. In this search box here is where you can search for items. This is our online catalog, and it also includes almost all of our databases. I recommend that you begin with an advanced search, and when you click that link it will take you to this page, and this is where you begin your search. Here is where you would put in your different search terms. Or if you are using this as our online catalog and you want to search for a specific item, here is where you could put in, say, the title of a book and change the drop down to title. Or you could also put in the name of the author and change the drop down to author. So you can use it for specific lookup, or you can do just a subject search. So if you're doing this as a subject search, you would put in your search terms here and you could leave these drop downs alone. Let's say that we're going to start by looking for information about social networking. You'll notice that as I begin typing, the search engine is giving me some suggestions of phrases that it already knows it has answers to. So you could use one of those if it is appropriate for what you're looking for. Okay, so when I typed in a phrase, it automatically began searching. You can add more phrases. You don't have to use just one. You'll see that with my beginning search here of social networking, I have just under 2 million results. So I probably want to narrow this down a little bit. So in order to narrow down this list of results, over here on the left-hand side, you'll notice that there are a number of menus. And all of these menus are built to help you limit your results. So this first menu here, the one that says Limit To, if I click on Show More, it takes us to a menu and allows us to make some options to narrow down our results. So one of the options here is that you can click it to say, I only want to use full text items. So that means that the results that you get will only be PDF and or HTML documents. But we do actually have a lot of content in the library that's in paper form. So when you use this, you will limit your options. You can also click here and say, I only want peer-reviewed items. This peer-reviewed button is pretty exclusively for academic journal articles, so you want to be careful when you use it. Again, it's going to narrow down your results so that you are only seeing academic journal articles, and if that's not what your assignment calls for, you don't want to make that sort of harsh limitation. You can also put in a time frame, so I'm going to go ahead and narrow down my results to the last 5 years. And then I'm going to click on the search button, and now it's just going to fix my search. And it did remove, as you'll see here, quite a bit of content. This next menu on the left-hand side, called Source Types, will also help to limit your results. And if you click on Show More, it will give you a list of different kinds of resources that are currently in your results list. So this is where you can be very specific based on your assignment. If your professor has said that you can only use books and ebooks and academic journals, then you could limit by those. If your assignment says that you're supposed to use newspapers and magazines, then this is where you can make that kind of limitation. And it even has other types of publications in here like reviews and primary source documents. So you can make your limitations based on kinds of material. Let's say for the sake of argument that our professor wants us to use only books, ebooks, and academic journals, and I will update my list. And now I have 122,000. So you see how effective that menu is. You'll notice over here on the left-hand side that as I make all of these limitations, they show up here in this first box. So if you ever feel like you've gone too far and you've made too many limitations, you can click on an X to remove that limiter. The next menu that I want you to take a look at is the subject menu. And again, when you click on Show More, it opens up this sort of full menu. The subject menu accomplishes a couple of different things. First of all, it gives you some sense of the terminology that the search engine is used to using, its vocabulary, so to speak. So as you look through this, you might realize that it's using words and phrases that we don't necessarily use in our language, and that will help you to make better choices. So this first phrase is really interesting because it recommends online social networks, whereas we just use social networking. And of course, we think of social networking in terms of being online, But what the search engine is trying to tell you here is that it views online social networks as a slightly different thing than just social networking. So we can narrow it down and say, I do specifically want to look at online social networks. One of the other things that's great about this menu is that it gives you a chance to look through and think a little bit about your topic. So as you are searching through this, you can ask yourself some questions about, maybe I do want to look at social networking in terms of education, or maybe I want to look at it in terms of how we learn. Maybe I want to look at it in terms of our social interactions. So these different phrases, these different search terms might give you some ways to narrow down your topic. Now, once you've made some choices and you have narrowed down your results, you'll notice that in the center of this page is where we actually have our list of results. So each one of these records, they're arranged in a very similar way. So of course you have the title up at the top, you have some basic bibliographic information here, and then towards the bottom you'll see some sort of box or at least indicator of where you can actually find the item. So with this paper book, you will notice that it tells you that this is in Squires Library. Here is the call number, and it tells you whether or not it's available, or if this had a date here, it would tell you that it was due on a certain day. This next record is an academic journal article, and then you'll notice that again here at the bottom, it shows you how you can get to this information. It has a PDF that's full text. Here is an ebook that we have, and again at the bottom of the record, it's showing you how to get to this information. So here's the PDF in full text, or to download and work offline. Sometimes you'll come across a record and it shows that this is a book, but we don't actually have the book in full text. If we did, it would give you that information here at the bottom. So instead, it's asking you to go to Google Scholar and search there. And if you click on the link, it will take you to Google Scholar and it will do a search for you. Sometimes you may find an article or a book, and again, we may not necessarily have the full text. It shows you here this link to try to find it through another database that we may have access to. So then you'll want to just be sure to track this information about which volume and issue you're looking for from this journal. It's very possible that we have a subscription to this journal, but we do not yet have the particular volume that you're looking for. Now, as you are browsing, you can take a look at any one of these books and articles. If you want to get some more information, you can click on the title of any one of these records to get into the full record. So when I click on the title here, now I get the full record. It shows me who the authors are, where this article is coming from. It gives me the abstract if that's available. And one of the other things that you'll notice as you're looking through this full record is that you do get this list here of subjects. And there's some minor subjects here too. Sometimes you'll see a list of author-produced subjects, and that's also valuable. What this can help you do is as you take a look at these subject terms, you might realize that this is also a phrase that you want to be using because it's part of your topic, and you can add it up here into your search. One of the other things that you might have noticed when we clicked into this full record is that over here on the right hand side, we now get a number of options, things that we can do with this journal article. Some of the options are to print, email, save. This is also where you can cite a book or an article. And when you click on the Cite button, it opens up this little menu for you. These are all of the most commonly used citation styles. So you would pick the one that is appropriate for your discipline. Now, one of the things that you want to make sure that you're aware of is that while the information that's produced here is correct, what is not correct is the formatting. So the periods and the commas, and is everything in the right order? Is everything italicized that's supposed to be? Those formatting issues get lost. So you'll want to make sure that you go back through, even if you copy and paste, and double check all the formatting of your citations. One of the other things that you can do with this right hand side menu is that you can also add an item to the folder. So if you like this article but you want to keep browsing, you can throw it into the folder. Now you see the folder icon has some paper in it, and then you can keep browsing. So at this point you could go back to your results list, or you could add some more terms to your search, or you could even begin a new search. And everything that you've put in this folder will sort of stay there. It's a lot like the shopping cart that you use when you're shopping through Amazon or any other online store. If you were to leave the search engine, however, everything in this folder would just disappear. So you'll want to make sure that when you're getting ready to leave the search engine, that you've done something with the items that you put into your folder. So as you are getting ready to finish up your research session, you'll want to make sure that you go to the folder icon up here at the top bar. And when you click on it, it takes you to this sort of folder page. And this is a lot like the checkout page when you're online shopping. So here is where you would have a whole list of all of the things that you had put into that folder. Right now I only have one. And then you have choices of what you can do with this item. So if you click on the item or items, then you can say I want to print them, I want to email them, or I want to save them. You will notice on this page you also have this link here that says sign into my EBSCOhost, or you'll notice that it's on this blue bar. So you can sign in and create a login, and that gives you some more options of things that you can do, including with folders. So if I go to sign in here, it takes you to a different page, and we've all seen pages like this online where either you log in or right here you create a new account. So you would use the username and password that you decide on. Don't make them too hard to remember. And then you'll want to use your Lee University email address or your seminary email address as the email that they request from you. So I will go ahead and log in, and then I'm going to show you some of these new options that you get. So when you log in, it will take you back to the page that you were last on. And I was last at that folder page. And the first thing that you might notice is instead of having one article in this folder, I now have 77. When you create a login and then use your login, you will actually get to store everything in that folder, even if you forget to do something with them. So that means you never lose your research, and that can be really handy. One of the other things that's new once you create the login is over here on the left-hand side, you get a place to create custom folders. So you'll notice that I have a number of them named here. You have a lot of options with the folders, which we will discuss further in the advanced discovery service options. And then you have some options here as well. So you can take an item and you can copy it to a folder, or you can move it to a folder, but you still have the options over here that you had before to print, email, and save. And as I go back to the results list, you might notice a couple of other new options. One is that now that I've created a login, you'll notice over here on the right-hand side of each one of these records, there is a little folder icon. When the folder icon is blue like this, when I click on it, it brings up my folders, my custom folders, and I could just simply put this book into one of my folders. And it shows me with this icon that I already have this item in a folder somewhere. So this makes it a little bit quicker for you to go through and store things in your folders. One of the last things that I want to point out to you on this results page is over here on the right hand side. You will notice that we have a chat box here. If you are having problems while you are searching, please feel free to chat with one of us. This goes to the reference desk, and one of our reference staff or librarians will answer questions for you. Those are the ins and outs, the basics of using EBSCO's Discovery Service. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. We would love to help you. Have a great day and good researching.